This tutorial explores accessible form instructions. We're going to cover overall form instructions, inline instructions, 3 different methods, and dealing with a placeholder. Section 1, Overall Form Instructions. Where relevant, instructions that apply to the entire form should be provided before the form element. This will ensure that instructions are announced by screen readers before they switch to Forms mode. For example, indicate any required fields, allowed date formats, and password limitations. Section 2, Inline Instructions. There are times when individual form fields need additional information in order for users to understand how to fill them in correctly. Simple instructions associated with form fields are normally positioned directly under the field. These instructions need to be programmatically associated with the label element so they can be announced to screen readers along with the label content. In this example, if the instructions were programmatically associated with the form control, the input would be announced as include a 10-digit number. Section 3, 3 methods. There are 3 different methods that can be used to programmatically associate instructions with their relevant form fields. Method 1, instructions inside the label. Information can be associated with form fields by placing the information inside the label element. This technique is stable across all web browsers and assistive technologies, so it's the recommended solution. In this example, there's a span with the words include a 10-digit number inside the label element. Method 2, instructions using ARIA-describe-by. The ARIA-describe-by attribute can be used to associate instructions with form controls. This technique has good support across all modern web browsers and assistive technologies. In this example, the span element, which contains the additional information, has an ID value of instructions 2, and the input has an ARIA-describe-by with a value of instructions 2. Method 3, instructions using ARIA-label-by. The ARIA-label-by attribute can also be used to associate instructions with form controls. However, to ensure backwards compatibility, the label element also should contain an ID value which is referenced by the ARIA-label-by attribute. In this example, the label has an ID of label 1. The span element, which contains the additional instructions, has an ID value of instructions 1. And the input has an ARIA-label-by attribute with 2 values, label 1 and instructions 1. This technique allows assistive technologies to concatenate ID values and provide multiple instructions to a single form control. However, developers must use caution with this technique, as too much information associated with a single form control may overwhelm the users. Additionally, developers should test that this technique is supported by their target browser and assistive technology combinations prior to implementation. Section 4, the placeholder. The placeholder attribute is designed to allow developers to apply simple instructions directly in the form field. However, this method should be avoided as it presents 2 accessibility issues. The first issue is disappearing instructions. These instructions disappear as soon as the user types a character into the field or they tab to the field. For some users, especially some types of cognitively impaired users, this can present a challenge as the instructions are no longer available. The second problem is faint instructions. Placeholder text is often presented in a very soft grey colour, which is well below acceptable WCAG colour contrast ratios. Even though the text can be styled with CSS, many developers don't do this, so it can be inaccessible to anyone with vision issues. Content authors and developers are recommended to include form instructions on the page using one of the methods presented earlier. Conclusion. So there you have it, a simple explanation of accessible form instructions. Except where otherwise noted, this work is licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution Share Alike 4.0 license. Copyright 2018, California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office. These works are licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. They're available to everyone and may be repurposed to meet the unique needs of educational institutions.